everyone, it's Brooke. Welcome back to my channel. I have a new phone, which means a new camera, which means new settings. I think I figured them out. If I haven't, I apologize and I will do better next video. That's all I can do. I hate that the lighting's not great. I filmed this yesterday in actual daylight and I just didn't like it, so I deleted, which is what happens to me 75% of the time. That's probably a fairly accurate representation of how many videos I delete. So today I'm just going to do a pretty simple, straightforward November wrap-up. November was a much better reading month than I've had in recent history. I'm feeling the book mojo, the reading mojo coming back to me, which is just, I mean, knock on wood, but it feels better. I think part of that is that 2018 midterms went pretty okay, and the end of the year is here, and everything's starting to feel a little bit like it's time to refresh and start new. And I like this time of the year for that reason. And I've just had a week-long work break, and I'm getting a week and a half work break soon, and so all of those things are also happy making. So in November I read six things. I'm not going to talk about any comics I read at this point. I'm going to do that in like sort of a end of the year wrap up of some of my favorite comics. There's a graphic novel coming out in December, I believe, that I really am looking forward to reading. So I'll just kind of wrap up my year in comics towards the end of the month. And so I'll just talk about the books. The first book is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, and it was translated from Japanese by Jenny Tapley Takamori. You've probably seen this in several places. I think I saw it mostly talked about here on BookTube. This is a really short little literary fiction character study novella, really. And it is about a woman who begins working in a convenience store when she's 18 and does not leave the convenience store. And then most of the book is set when she's in her mid-30s. The other thing you have to know about her is that she is basically a sociopath. Not really great at the human emotions and reacting to things as you might expect a human to act. Yeah, she doesn't human very well, which I think makes this book work because she is therefore able to sort of act as a mirror of society. So you can see all the ways that society kind of imprints on us and the damage it can do. I think there's a section in here where she talks about being a convenience store worker and starting there and having the employee manual and how that kind of taught her to be, how to smile at customers, how to be friendly, all these things she just didn't understand. And the world of the convenience store, the environment, and the interactions between humans actually helped her find a place in humanity, which is an interesting concept to think about. There's also some really biting sort of, I think, class commentary here and some socioeconomic commentary. There's some gender commentary. There's one really biting line in the book where she claims that she has fallen from being a convenience store clerk, which is already sort of an indictment of being a convenience store clerk as something lesser than. She's fallen now to being just a female human, which is really, really saying something. I think, because she's in her mid-30s and she feels like what she's learning from society is that women are only good if they're breeders, and sort of that's kind of just what it means to be a female human, is just to breed. And so all that stuff is really interesting. This book though it didn't make me feel strongly for it or against it. It was very middle of the road for me. I thought it was fine. I actually enjoyed that I thought it was fine. It kind of gave my brain a way to relax, not have to think too hard, but I mean, there's stuff to think about, but it wasn't like I was getting really emotional about it one way or the other. And it felt sort of like a palate cleanser, and I think it'd be a really good, you know, book for a readathon, you know. And then I went to an event with Rebecca Traister, and so I wanted to read her newest book, and that is Good and Mad, the revolutionary power of women's anger. And that's what this book is. This book is, it's very American focused, just so you know. It is nonfiction, obviously, and it is examining kind of women's anger and how that has propelled social movement and political movement, mostly, you know, focusing again on America. So it's very intersectional. I think that's kind of the first question you wonder with Rebecca Traister being a white woman, but she's such a great feminist journalist. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. Yeah, she really engages with the fucked up shit white women do, and the ways that anger is viewed and perceived by society depending on lots of different intersectional identities. So I love this. This is, I mean, it rehashes a lot of things that maybe you're not ready to rehash yet, and and I get that, if you need to still kind of remain distant from some of the stuff that's happened in the past. Oh gosh, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the past 2 years, but I mean, goes way further back than that. I had to sort of, I think, find a better place. But there was a point in this where they were talking about the historic number of women running for office in the U.S. in the 2018 election cycle, and that this book was published before, you know, November 6th, so they didn't know the outcome. And one of the people she quotes in this book was talking about how don't get your hopes up, because it's great that they're running, but it doesn't mean they're going to win, you know, learn your lesson. Because we're kind of like fearful that we have hope, I think, at this point a little bit. But like, I kind of got choked up thinking about that, because I read that like literally the next day after the election, and a lot of those women won, and we have the most women in government like ever. And it's women, it's not just white women. It is a really great cross section of intersectional female identities, and so that was a great moment. And this is incredibly accessible. I do think, though, it balances being kind of a sort of conversational journalism, I think. Is that even a term? I don't know. But I think anyone can read this and enjoy. It'll make you angry again, but also give you hope and give you lots to think about, and it's definitely worth a read. And then I finished the month. It was Thanksgiving week. I wanted to just kind of escape and enjoy having, you know, the whole week off. The first week of the year I've had like entirely off since, you know, like last time during the holidays. And so last year, and my book club was coming up, and that we had chosen to read The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I don't think I say her name correctly, I'm sorry. And so I just binge read the whole Raven Cycle series. This is the 4th book. The first book is The Raven Boys. The second book is The Dream Thieves. The third book is Blue Lily Blue. And then The Raven King. And I have to say, this here book, I'm putting it down, this whole series is actually one of the maybe the best YA series I've ever read. Maybe not best, but very close. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it lived up to a lot of the hype for me. I think the plot of like trying to discover a sort of magical Welsh king and wake him from his grave in Virginia is doesn't feel like something I've ever read before, so that was really refreshing. I thought she did a great balance. I can get very angry. You might have seen some videos recently where you have this female protagonist in this story, Blue, who is surrounded by boys. She doesn't have any female friends, and she's surrounded by boys, and that is what's happening here. But I think Maggie knew that was inherently sort of not great, so she gives Blue a family, or just a found family of these really amazing women that she lives with, and those women are just as well written, and I think given they're adults, most of them, so you know, YA, that can be questionable whether or not they get their own space, but they did in this, and they have their own voices and their own lives, and they're separate from men, and they're doing their own things, and they're important to the story. And so I was glad that she was able to kind of find that balance. I liked that the older characters were just all of these sort of psychic women, and you know, because I'm probably mostly their age, I'm not Blue's age for sure, and so that was nice. I still wish Blue had a female friend. I'm always going to hope for that, but I think that there are enough women in this to have not pissed me off. The teenage boys are written as teenage boys, especially, they're incredibly privileged, they're private school kids. They made me angry a lot, but they are also well written, just fully bodied characters that I could understand even when they were making me angry, so they were compelling to read. And yeah, I thought the first book was the weakest. I thought the second book was the strongest. The second book was really where I kind of said, okay, this is, even if the rest of the books were just total crap, I'm so glad I read this for this book. I think there's some really particularly beautiful paragraphs in that book. The third book went a little woo-woo on me with the introduction of a certain character, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it. And then I think the fourth book, while it didn't blow me away. I don't think it was the most amazing ending to the series, but I think it was solid. And I am often kind of let down, I think, by the ending, not even just in YA, but in all like long or like series of books. I can often be disappointed by the ending. But I wasn't here. I thought it's pretty solid. Yeah, so it was really pleasurable to sit down and want to binge read books. I finished this actually Saturday night at like 1 a.m. I stayed up and read the last 200 pages until like I was literally holding my eyelids open with my hands, my fingers. I haven't done that all year, and so it made me feel like I'm getting back to myself. I think YA, very sort of pacey YA, and there are slow moments in that series which I actually liked, but I think with the plotty kind of book, and you want to just kind of race to the end and know what happens, I think it can be really helpful for me when I'm struggling, and I need to remember that. So that's my takeaway from reading the Raven Cycle series, which is going to be a TV show created by the Magicians team on Sci-Fi, which is also exciting. And my book club all really enjoyed it in the same ways. So we've been having really great discussions about it. So that's great. Other than that, I am going to sign off and stop jabbering at you, and I will talk to you guys next video.